The first card you have for your past is the Nine of Pentacles. So I'm seeing, obviously this is the card of being by yourself, feeling stable, feeling content in yourself and your surroundings. And I think this is what you wanted, or this is what you knew you had to do. It's like you're almost forcing yourself to feel more stable inside yourself and to be more stable outside of yourself as well, if that makes sense. It's something you had to kind of force yourself to do or train yourself to do because you knew that this was the right thing for you to do. Your default position isn't a stability at all. I think, really naturally what you want to do is run over here, do this, do that, do all these fun, interesting things that are all in your mind. You don't want to sit still and build, but that's what you had to do. And you knew that. You knew you had to stop, you had to sit still, and you had to set your mind to achieving what you wanted to achieve, because you did have things to achieve and you couldn't do that if you were running all over the place. And yeah, you did have to train yourself. You had to train yourself to try and feel positive about being stable. And so yeah, that's what you're doing, because I'm just looking at this woman. She's holding this falcon, and the falcon could be free, it could fly around if it wanted to, and it probably did once before it was trained. But now it's trained. It's not flying away. It's trained to stay where it is. So that's what you were doing. You were training yourself not to fly away, not to run away and do this and that and the other thing that you thought was interesting. You had to sit still and you had to build. And you might have been tempted to jump into a lot of different things or go into a lot of different directions. But you knew that that's what you had to do. You had to settle. Even if it was just for a while, doesn't mean this is forever, but you had to do this at that time, and you probably still do have to do this. You knew what you needed to do, and at this time you had to follow your brain, follow your mind. You couldn't follow your heart. You really couldn't. That's what I'm seeing was happening in that card. I hope that makes sense to you. The next card you have for your past is the Lovers. So, yes, this card can obviously be about love. But I'm seeing duality in this card. Again, I'm seeing one part of your mind wanting to break free or try lots of different things or to move around or do this or do that. And the other part of you knew that you needed to keep still. You needed to stay in one place, not only physically, but mentally. Your brain needed to focus on one thing or one or two small things. Or not, maybe not small things, but the main things you had to focus on. You had to stay focused so that you could achieve these things. And you needed to build things up as well. You needed to build things up, and nobody can build anything unless they're in the same place and they have some sense of stability. If you wanted to build a house, you couldn't be in one road and in the other road and in the other road and in another road. You have to be in the same place, building the house, building your foundations in the one place. Now, because this is also a card of love, obviously, or it is mainly a card of love, stability as well. Stability in love often comes from having stability in other areas. So, if you are single and you're wanting a relationship and you're looking for a relationship, having this stability generally in your life is going to give you this emotional foundation and this kind of sense of satisfaction and this sense of contentment and confidence, and that's going to help you to find someone. So I think instead of kind of doing this and doing a bit of that and doing a bit of the other, standing still, building yourself up, building that foundation, building that confidence is going to bring that right person to you, because you're going to feel satisfied in yourself and satisfied in what you're building up for yourself. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, this duality that I'm seeing, the man on this card is standing in front of the tree of life, but the leaves look a bit like flames, fire, restlessness, moving. But the woman on the left, she's standing in front of the tree of knowledge, and she's Eve. So she has a choice to make between eating the apple or leaving it there. And I think no matter how tempted you were, like Eve was tempted, no matter how tempted you were to do all of these last minute things, run around, do this fun thing and that thing and the other thing, you had to make the choice of stability. And again, That doesn't mean that you'll never change, or you'll never move, or you'll never travel, or you'll never do all these interesting things. You will do them again, because you're Aries. I know you will. And Aries can feel trapped sometimes by this sense of stability. They don't like it, even though they know that's what they need to do. So this just means that this is what you have to do for now. This staying still, this building yourself up, whether this is financially or in other ways, it might be in a lot of different ways in your life. This is going to give you more freedom of choice later on in a lot of things. It will actually give you more freedom. For example, if you're building up your finances, and you probably are, and you're probably building up other things in your life as well. But if you're building up your finances, it might sound boring. It might seem like you're stuck in the same job or doing the same thing over and over again, building up your money. It's really boring. You'd rather be going here or doing that or doing something fun. Of course you would. But by building that money up, it's going to give you more freedom. You're going to be able to say to yourself, oh, I want to go here, or I want to go there. And if you hadn't have built that up, you wouldn't have been able to do that. You probably wouldn't have been able to afford to do that. It also gives you that buffer. If something goes wrong, you can pay for it. You don't have that freedom if you don't have that amount of money built up. Now, this isn't just money that I'm seeing you building up. This is your confidence. This is your stability. This is a lot of different things. It might be a business you're building up. So all of that kind of time that seems boring to you is going to give you more freedom later. That's what I'm seeing. So the last card you have for your past is the Queen of Cups. So yeah, I think someone was thinking about you. Yeah, I always see this person in your readings, this person who thinks about you, but they never take any action. I don't think they were so emotional and so in their head that they couldn't stop thinking about you. It wasn't as dramatic as I'm seeing on this Queen. But they were thinking about you. And I think when you're around them, when you used to spend time with them, I think they spent a lot of time with you, actually. I think they might have spent every day with you. I'm seeing day after day after day, you're spending time with them. So as you spent day after day with this person, you both changed in time because of the conversations you used to have and the time you spent together. You kind of rubbed off on each other, if that makes sense. You were really close, actually. I'm just looking at these pebbles, these little stones at the feet of this beautiful Queen, and you can't quite see it, so I'll move it up so you can see. There is beautiful little round pebbles. Some of them are red in this picture, some of them are green or whatever, some are yellow, golden. And they've been moulded. They've been moulded into their shape. They're smooth and they're round. And the water's moulded them. So, you know, they weren't like that in the beginning, but as the water's kind of washed over them, they become smoother. And you were both moulded by that time you spent together. You were both moulded emotionally and personality-wise. I'm not saying your personality completely changed, but parts of you changed, parts of your attitudes, parts of your kind of ideas that you have changed, and theirs did as well. And I think maybe your relationship might have been a little bit on and off as well when you were with them. I think, you know, because I'm looking at this tide coming in and out, so maybe that's what happened. It came in and out and it was washing over these stones. So I think each breakup or each time that you spent apart really affected you as well. That moulded you into the shape you're in today as well. So maybe that made you a bit wary of new people, wary of new relationships, because you were moulded by what had happened to you in your past. And I think the same thing happened to them. You might not realise that. You might not think anything changed them, but it did. You changed them. You changed the way they felt, and you probably changed them a lot, and they've probably changed right now because of you being around them. I think this person hasn't been able to forget about you. I think they've been busy. I think they've been getting on with their lives, but you've still been on their mind. And I think maybe they watch you a bit as well, whether that's on social media or whatever else. And I think they wished that you were still with them, or they were still with you. And they actually wish that you would be together forever, actually, or that you were, or that you had been, or that you were able to be together forever. I know that sounds a little bit over the top and a bit romantic, But I'm just looking at the lid on this cup, and it's a bit like a dome on a church. And you see these round domed churches all over Italy. You see them on Orthodox churches. You see them in Russia. And they were domed, they were round, because they were built like that because a circle was historically a circle of eternity. And then they had the circle, and then they had the spire pointing up from that circle, which means eternally pointing toward heaven. So the church was eternally pointing toward heaven. So the symbol of a circle or a dome or a sphere was a symbol of eternity. And so that's why I'm seeing that, yes, they probably hoped that they would have been with you, or that they were with you for an eternity, but it didn't turn out like that. And that's what they were thinking. That's what they were looking back on, thinking about you, wishing that you were still with them. That's what I'm seeing in that card. So the first card you have for your present is the Queen of Wands. So yeah, I'm actually seeing this, I'm seeing this a bit literally, actually. I think there might be a woman, a really, really strong woman, actually, who might be helping you in some way. She might be advising you. I think she's really, really good for you, this person. Don't ever lose this person. Don't ever fall out with this person or say anything to them. They're a good person to have around you. This is a really, really good person. I'm seeing someone who's really strong, really capable. But, like all good people, sometimes she tells you or reminds you of things that you don't really want to hear. They're what you need to hear, but then they might be not what you want to hear, because she's honest, and they're the best kinds of people to have around you. I'm seeing text messages or phone calls coming into you, and maybe, I'm seeing something like her name comes up on your phone, and, you like hearing from this person, you really do. But I think when they're reminding you to do something that you're putting off or you don't like, you might want to hide from them a bit, because you probably know that they're going to say to you, oh, have you done that? Or how are you going with this? How's that going? Have you finished that? And then you might be thinking, oh, I haven't actually finished that. So yeah, I can see this person wanting to talk to you, and you might be avoiding them a bit. That's not because you want to avoid them, you like them, but you might be trying to avoid what they're trying to remind you to do, if that makes sense. And, this is telling me as well that you're avoiding things. There are things that you still haven't finished that you need to finish. And, maybe they're not the most interesting things, they might not be the most exciting things or the most fun things, but, you need to get them done. You need to get them out of the way. Just get them finished. Just do it. That's what I'm seeing in that card. This is an action card. So the next card you have for your present is the Three of Cups. So yeah, whatever this is that you've been putting off, or you are putting off, that you need to do, this might be something to do with your money or your finances, because, there's an abundance of fruit, oranges, pumpkins in this card, and this fruit is on the floor, it's on the ground, and these women are dancing around it. So whatever this is going to lead you to some kind of abundance, financial abundance probably, or it's going to help you towards some kind of financial goal that you're trying to get toward, and you'll be really relieved. When this is done, when this is finished, you're going to feel really relieved, and you might feel like celebrating, like these women even. I'm also seeing in this card, this might sound a bit strange, but I'm seeing a group of people welcoming you, or trying to welcome you, trying to get you to talk to them. But I'm getting a strange feeling around this. This isn't a large group, this is a kind of a smallish group that I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is some of them are honest and trustworthy, and some of them aren't. And I think you're going to have to, or you are using your instincts to kind of work out who is and isn't honest. And I think you always have good instincts. I think you're able to do this. You have a feeling about people. You can tell when they're honest and when they're not. And yeah, there have been people in your past who your instincts were almost yelling at you to step away from. Your instincts were telling you, step away from this person, they're bad for you. I'm actually seeing one specific person from your past who really hurt you, or you were hurt from them or because of them, and you didn't use your instincts at that time. So use them here, use your instincts here. It might be that, you have to see some of these people individually by themselves, so you don't have to see the whole group, so that you can avoid seeing all of these people together if you need to. Or it might be that you just see small groups of them, 2 people at a time, something like that. But I think you do definitely need to weed out these people who are not honest, and you know who they are. I can see that your instincts are telling you exactly who they are. The last card you have for your present is the Hierophant. So yes, some of these people in this group might even be a little bit nasty sometimes. I am seeing one person actually trying to hide, sorry about that noise, trying to hide what they're really like. And maybe they're saying kind of ambiguous things that are a bit vague. They might be trying to hide how they truly are or something like that. There's something that they're hiding. And I think you know that. You can tell that even if you don't know what they are hiding, you can tell that something's going on with them. They might be trying to hide their true personality or something like that. But you can instinctively tell who's who if you kind of calm down and you let your instincts come through. If this person doesn't realize how sharp your intuition is, maybe you come across as someone who's a bit bold, a bit unthinking, someone who doesn't think very deeply or feel very deeply, but actually the opposite is the case. You do feel that very deeply, you think very deeply, and you do, but they don't realize that. The Hierophant's wearing red on the outside, but he's wearing white on the inside. So you might seem bold and forward on the outside, but on the inside, there's a lot of sensitivity, there's a lot of purity, and you feel things very, very deeply, and you have very, very strong, very deep instincts. And, again, your instincts are going to show you who to trust, who not to trust. And also you might be tempted to just throw this whole group out, everyone in the group. You might be thinking something like, well, forget them. If I can't trust them all, I couldn't be bothered with them. But I don't think you should do that, because there are some good people in this group as well. I'm seeing 1 or 2 of them who are very, very good people, and they might even be lifelong friends of yours. So don't throw everyone out. That's what I'm seeing in that card. The first card you have for your future is the Knight of Wands. So yeah, I don't want to be negative here, and sometimes I'm accused of being negative and making people paranoid, and I don't mean to, but if I see something, I'm going to say. I'm actually seeing someone in this card who's, they're actually really, really popular. They have a lot of people around them. They have a huge circle of people around them, a huge circle of friends, but not just friends, they have acquaintances. They're the kind of person who a lot of people talk about and they listen to. But they have a lot of gossiping around. They have a kind of a gossipy side, I think, a side that loves to be the person with the information, if that makes sense. The person who knows the latest thing to talk about, the latest thing about this person and that person, the latest story to tell everyone. It's something like that. So just be careful if you know this person or if you know who they are, because if you tell them things, they're not going to keep it to themselves, and they might even make up things or embellish stories or make it more than it actually is, make it more interesting. Yeah, they like to embellish stories. They like to make the stories sound a bit better. So just be a bit careful of what you say, obviously, to this person, but also in public or on social media, just be careful what you say on there. Be careful what you say around them or to people that they might know. Because this person thrives on chatting about other people, gossiping, making up things, embellishing stories. Not all of what they say is true, obviously. And if they're talking about other people to you, they're talking about you to other people. So just be very, very careful if you know who this is, especially on social media, because I'm getting this feeling this person might be looking out for what you're saying, listening to what you're saying, and they might be either spreading what you're saying around and changing what you're saying. It's something really, really bad like that. So be very careful what you say. The next card you have for your future is the Seven of Cups. Yes, so this is a very confusing card. It can be about, you know, choices and not knowing what choice to make and all of these things. It can be about being deluded or having illusions. I think you've had a lot of confusion in your mind. I think you might have had a lot of confusion in your mind for a long time. I think you've had a lot of decisions to make. And I think, you know, you've been going through this for a long, long time, and you're still going to be going through this at this time, obviously, in your future. So, but I think that some things aren't quite as difficult or as complicated as you're imagining. I'm not saying that everything's fine and easy. You have a lot of different worries in a lot of different areas in your life. I think some of them are complicated and they are difficult, but others aren't so difficult. And I think it's just a matter of kind of separating these things out and seeing them separately for what they are and tackling them individually, if that makes sense, working through each individual thing. Yeah, I think you might be feeling as if each decision kind of hinges on the other decisions, or that they're dependent on the result of the other decisions, if that makes sense to you. But I don't think they all do. I think you can separate them out. You know, I'm just seeing all these problems kind of swirling around in your head like a great big mess. And it's reminding me a bit of a painting and mixing colours. If you mix primary colours, they obviously make different secondary colours. So for example, if you mix red and yellow, they make orange, you know that, whatever else. But then if you mix the secondary colours, you get tertiary colours, which are kind of just variations on brown, a kind of a muddy colour. And I think that's what's going on in your mind, this kind of muddled muddiness in your head, because everything's all mixed up together. You've kind of over mixed it. And so what you need to do is separate the different colours or the different things, the different problems out again into separate areas. You know, it might be that you can't even do that at this time. It might be all mixed up. So just try and think about something else, sit there, and eventually each problem will pop into your head. As it does, maybe try and write each thing down separately, and then see, and each one will come into your head at different times, and eventually you'll have them all written down. Put them all on a separate piece of paper, if this, you know, if you want to, you don't have to, or if you're on your phone on a separate kind of piece of, you know, a separate page or whatever it is, and then write notes underneath that. How am I going to tackle this problem? First, I'll do this. First, I'll make this phone call. First, I'll talk to this person. First, I'll do this. First, I'll do that. Work your way down and get through all of that. Then go on to the next problem. Work your way through. You really need to separate them and see them in an organized way instead of this great big huge mass and this muddle that's in your head. You know, these things need to be tackled, though. I'm seeing that all over this reading. These need to be done, and, you know, don't put them off anymore, because, you know, I think you feel very stressed about this, and I think once you've solved all of these problems, even once you've solved some of them, even if once you've solved one of them, you'll feel an achievement and you'll feel as if you're getting somewhere, and that will give you the confidence to move on to the next one and the next one. But when you've done all of them, you're going to feel so much better. I'm seeing that. I was seeing that in the Three of Cups. You'll be celebrating. You'll be feeling so happy. So get them done. I mean, the sooner you start, the sooner you can finish. So the last card you have for your future is the Ten of Swords. So yes, don't be upset, don't be worried about this card. I know it looks a bit dramatic. What I'm seeing in this card is, again, similar thing. Get it before it gets you. That's all I can say about this. Please sort out all of these things you've been putting off, because they'll get you. There might be a deadline on some of them. Don't miss these deadlines. Don't keep putting things off. I know these things feel overwhelming to you right now. I keep on seeing financial things, actually money related things. Please get on top of these things before the deadline comes up. Don't put them off. Please don't miss these things. And again, I'm seeing this person, I'm seeing this woman in the Queen of Wands, this woman who can help you with a lot of these things, or at least some of these things. Talk to them as well. Don't avoid them if they're trying to call you and ask you if you've done this or that. This is a very valuable person to have around you. This is the very time when you need this person around you. Don't avoid them. They want to talk to you as well. They want to help you. That's what I'm seeing.